All right, guys, I want to be real clear about a few things, and that is to say that when you get concerned about something because you get information from a source that is close to somebody involved in activity that you know should not be going on, particularly when it has to do with kids, it's hard to come out and talk about this kind of stuff. You may be ridiculed for it, so on and so forth, but it's ultimately for the benefit of the individual who may be continually affected by this. And I want to zoom in right here, guys. And what you'll see is kind of a blurred image there. I do apologize for that, but you've got Morgan Raleigh, Dustin Raleigh, and the young man that you see right here all together on the couch. And a picture right here. We have an inside source there that has let us know about that. And the bottom line is this is Judge Raleigh, and the concern stems from the involvement of not only drug activity and other types of kind of nefarious stuff going on with him over the years. That's well known within certainly Plano and kind of the underground stuff that goes on out there. But with the child sex stuff and all this other stuff, it's hard to even consider that stuff would go on like this, particularly with an elected official in any type of government. And I'm not accusing Judge Raleigh of this. I'm saying that, it's been passed on to me that other people have accused him of this that are very close to him and his family. And so that's very important to note. It's not coming from me. It's coming from people that know him. And so for me to get this information out is my duty. That's the way I look at it, and I want to be very clear about that. Because when we see this young man here, when you understand the full story, you automatically would be concerned about him. And I'm going to get into that a little bit with you. Let's start with Morgan Raleigh. This is Judge Raleigh's daughter. Bless her heart, she's been through a lot in her life. This is not something to try to defame any of them. Again, this is about passing on the information to the proper sources and documenting that. Looks like the last time that she was arrested here was at 1:07 a.m. back on 7/28 of 2018. And she's got several different charges here. This one here down at the bottom, number 4, motion to adjudicate forger government national instrument money security. That is an order sent in to violate her probation for a charge of counterfeiting, which the Secret Service actually did bust her with in conjunction with 2 other agencies, okay? And so I have that information firsthand from an individual that was someone who described himself as more of her partner than her pimp, but depending on how you talk to and how he's trying to portray it at that time, he was her pimp. And she was involved in prostitution, sadly. She was involved in, drug running and all this other stuff. She does have more extensive charges than this right here. Of course, she was busted here with possession of controlled substance over a gram, less than 4 grams. But that right there is just kind of a history of this is a judge's daughter involved in prostitution, counterfeiting, drug running. And that kind of leads to some of the concern that these other people have expressed and given the firsthand information. And when I look at this, I see the clear MO of a child predator in Judge Raleigh. And I think that, fortunately, I have been received very well amongst law enforcement who understand the MO of this and understand what's going on. And we'll go on and move into to Judge Raleigh's son, guys. This is Dustin Raleigh here. You can see that there. Dustin Miller Raleigh, 28, pleaded guilty to aggravated sexual assault of a child in Collin County District Court. He had been facing 11 charges of various sex crimes involving 2 young girls, according to the indictment in October of 2013. His original indictments were continuous sexual abuse on a child. They were connected to his family by marriage. And, again, we see this coming even more to light, much more so now with this kind of MO, that there's a commonality here. The common denominator here is Judge Raleigh himself, and then you want to be automatically concerned for this young man who, if we go to the video here, Judge Raleigh portrays himself as a man who is so upstanding and he loves to marry people and all of this way, and he really grotesquely misrepresents himself in such a way that you can see through this deception that these guys do, and it's hard to watch. And I would kind of encourage anybody to go watch this little video that you can see here in full detail, and just to kind of give you guys a recap of what's in there real quickly. It does have him talking about, only his one child, which I thought was interesting. He doesn't mention the Dustin or Morgan, who we've just shown you. He only talks about the younger child. And he does, go on to say that every time he marries somebody, he feels like he's renewing his vows to his own wife. And I'm going to back up real quick, because anybody can go and watch that for themselves. Now, when he says that about renewing his vows to his wife, okay, it really makes you think when he has two lawsuits filed against him for sexual harassment in his office, one of which was dismissed by a judge, the other of which cost the county paid for this, cost Collin County citizens, taxpayers, upwards of certainly over $500,000 is what I would suspect. We have the court costs here of, let's see, like $196,000 is what the court costs were. And I want people to pay attention to one of the allegations made against him regarding another younger person that he was claimed to have been around. And the suit also claims Raleigh made comments to her daughter when she visited her at work, saying he would fire her mother if she would work for him, and referring to her daughter as, quote, sweet young thing. He's referring to somebody who works for him's daughter as a sweet young thing. Again, this just kind of is more food for the fodder here. It is illustrating that MO that we do see in predators, and they hide right there in plain sight. And a lot of these guys do seek positions in law enforcement or in, the judicial system in order to hide their basically very sadistic and evil practices that they have with children. And it's not a game anymore at this point. And so I'm going to spare you guys the video here, but I just wanted to give a quick background of what's really going on with this case, who's really involved in the investigations and stuff, and what's really going on there. Pay attention here. And you did see already that I did put a tip into the FBI. And what we're looking at, guys, is a group of people that are involved in this throughout county and government that, need to be brought to justice. And this is going to happen. I want to be very clear about this. Today is the 21st of December, okay? It's about 10:45 a.m. And, we're going to see this thing come to fruition real soon. And so I want to be on record with that, because I've been intricately involved in exposing this, and I've done a lot of work to help make sure that these people aren't able to get away with this anymore, and that they can basically understand what it's really like to be part of the criminal justice system, to understand what it's really like to have a gavel swung on you when it's not in your hand, and to be held accountable for your crimes. And so it's so surreal to sit back with all this information, understand it, and look into the things. I would go ahead and talk to you guys more about Morgan Raleigh's pimp and all what went down with that. But the bottom line with that is he's actually heavily targeted by this group of people right now. We're looking into that for his safety. And there are so many witnesses that will testify about the fact that this guy was involved with illegal activity with children at his house as a judge in Plano. He's coming off the bench regardless. And so we'll be looking for that soon. And we're just going to keep pressuring these guys until they understand that we're not playing anymore, that they understand that we have the authority, the might, and the will to basically expose and to stop them by virtually whatever means is necessary. I mean, that's not my department. I'm not a law enforcement officer. I don't carry weapons and so on and so forth, but I do interact with surveillance and reconnaissance technologies, and I do forward that information virtually around the clock sometimes when I'm working an operation like this. And clearly, I had been inserted into this detention facility. Clearly, we have uncovered federal regulatory violations, and clearly, we are moving forward with different federal lawsuits and so on, and that's ongoing right now. And so it is what it is. I just, people need to go watch this video, see how he grossly misrepresents himself by saying all of these things, which you can go and then see just through mainstream sources that he is so full of shit and lying that he should never be on a bench. You've got to wonder what's wrong with these people and how he could operate in a county government structure right under people's noses for so long, and that raises a lot of questions. I'm just going to leave that there, and you guys share this information, that's fine. Digesting this information is probably the most important anybody can really do for themselves, because it's very foreign to what we're taught, what we see on TV, and so on and so forth. That is changing. We have a lot going on with the Catholic community right now with child sex crimes and so on. These things are connected, and that connection will become more relevant and illustrated in more detail as time moves forward, okay? I love you guys. Let's keep this stuff going. Let's stand together. And I want to be clear, victims of multi-generational abuse who have been through stuff like this, I'm not pointing my finger at this guy, okay, saying you're such a bad person, you should go to hell and all this. And I'm also not making any excuses for his behavior, okay? You've got to meet somewhere in the middle on this type of stuff. That is not my job. I think that we're both fortunate that it's not my job. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut it right there, guys. I hope you guys are doing great today, and God bless you.